And you can see that large storm now moving through southern Perry County. Southern Knott County extends a little further east, and some rain also behind that. That is the biggest storm we have out there in eastern Kentucky right now, the one moving through this area. As you can see, there are also some storms firing up to the west. There is a tornado watch in effect for western Kentucky, and we can expect to see more storms here in eastern Kentucky fire up throughout the day. There have been a few tornado warnings also for those storms out in western Kentucky and southern Illinois and eastern Missouri. We were expecting today to be a severe weather day, and it's turning out to be that indeed. We're going to make some calls on some possible damage in the area, and we'll get back on the air as needed, but let's go over the warnings we have again one more time. Severe thunderstorm warning for Knott, Perry, and Letcher counties until 2:15. Also a severe thunderstorm warning for Wise County, Virginia until 2:30. Flash flood warnings for Breathitt County until 4:15 and for Perry County until 4:30. We'll keep you updated. Keep it tuned right here to WYMT for the latest information. Now let's go back to regular programming. Latest warnings we have. The latest severe thunderstorm warning is for Harlan County until 3:30 this afternoon. At 2:41, radar indicated a severe thunderstorm 3 miles west of Big Laurel or 10 miles north of Harlan, moving east at 25 miles an hour. And we just had a power glitch here at the station. The severe thunderstorm will be near Pine Mountain around 2:50, Nolensburg around 2:55, Tots around 3 o'clock, Llewellyn around 3:05, and La Junior around 3:10. Again, severe thunderstorm warning for Harlan County until 3:30. We're continuing to have power glitches here at the station. The power went off when that first big storm rolled through here about an hour ago. The power went off here for about 5 minutes at least. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning for Leslie County has just expired. There's also a severe thunderstorm warning for our neighbors in Wise County, Virginia until 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's the second severe thunderstorm warning the folks there have had. Also, within the last 15 minutes or so, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma has issued a tornado watch for all of central and eastern Kentucky in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. So the Storm Prediction Center is thinking that storms are going to continue to fire up and capable of producing tornadoes throughout the evening hours. And in fact, we are seeing, you couldn't see this on the radar, but farther west in western Kentucky, several tornado warnings have come out of storms that are popping up there. We also have several flood warnings and flood advisories. The National Weather Service has extended an urban and small stream flood advisory for Powell, Estill, Wolfe, and Lee counties until 6 o'clock this evening. Also, flash flood warnings continue for Perry County until 4:30, Knott County until 4:45, and Breathitt County until 4:15. Let's take a look at the radar one more time, and as you can see, numerous storms are popping up in eastern Kentucky. They continue to pop up to the west of us, and the strongest storm right now, according to the National Weather Service, is in Harlan County, where there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:30 this afternoon. We've had numerous reports of flash flooding in several counties this afternoon. No reports of major wind damage. We did have one report in the Christopher area of Perry County of a house being damaged. Also earlier, when that first round of storms moved through, the Vico Fire Department reported a tornado on the ground. I made a call to the National Weather Service. They also heard that same report. They have not been able to confirm a tornado touching the ground in Perry County. That report came earlier. We heard it on the scanner here. The National Weather Service also heard that report from the Vico Fire Department, and we have no confirmation of that at this time. But it was obviously, I drove through it. It was a terrible, terrible storm that moved through here about an hour ago and produced a lot of heavy rain, and we have had several reports of flash flooding throughout Perry and Breathitt counties and surrounding counties. So again, to repeat the latest warning, severe thunderstorm warning for Harlan County until 3:30 this afternoon. Keep here to WYMT for the latest weather information. afternoon again, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley, continuing to follow the severe weather situation here in eastern Kentucky. A new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Jackson County until 3:45 this afternoon. If we can take a look at the sky alert radar and I can put it into motion, you can see numerous storms are popping up out there in eastern Kentucky, and you can see the one there moving into Jackson County. That storm is severe. 257 radar indicated a severe thunderstorm 2 miles northwest of 3 Links or 7 miles southeast of Berea, moving east at 25 miles per hour. The severe thunderstorm will be near Sand Gap around 3:05, Brazil around 3:10, Sand Springs around 3:15, Macedonia around 3:20, and the Lakes community around 3:25. This is a dangerous storm capable of producing winds up to 60 miles an hour and hail up to the size of pennies. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning continues for Harlan County. That's a totally different storm. A severe thunderstorm warning for Harlan County continues until 3:30 this afternoon, and a tornado watch is in effect for all of eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock tonight. There are no tornado warnings in effect right now. Again, it's important to emphasize the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. A tornado watch is issued when the Weather Service feels there is a chance that storms could develop that could produce tornadoes. That's what we're under right now, a watch. There are no tornado warnings in effect as at this time. If there is a warning issue, that means one has been spotted on radar or one has been spotted by the public. There was a tornado warning earlier for Clay County that has since expired, but all we have right now are severe thunderstorm warnings for Jackson County until 3:45 and Harlan County until 3:30. Also, several flood advisories. We'll get to those in a moment. These storms have been producing a lot of rain. I just got off the phone with Perry County 911 dispatcher who says apparently too much water was let out of Carr Creek Dam, and there is some serious flooding taking place in the city of Vico. He couldn't give me a number, but he said several houses have been flooded in the city of Vico. Also asked him about wind damage, and he said there are also several houses across Perry County that have suffered wind damage. Simply could not give me a count at this point. He hasn't had time to compile the list, but there is wind damage and flooding in Perry County. Also had reports of flooding in other counties. The latest flood advisories we have right now, urban and small stream flood advisory is in effect for Powell, Estill, Wolf, and Lee counties until 6 o'clock this evening. We have flash flood warnings continuing for Perry County until 4:30, Knott County until 4:45, and Breathitt County until 4:15. Let's go back to the radar and show you one more time all the storms that are out there. Numerous storms. They continue to fire up to the west. Again, a tornado watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight, and there are even more storms farther west of this that have produced tornado warnings out in western Kentucky. There's warnings as we speak right now in western Kentucky, but the latest warnings we have here in eastern Kentucky, severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson County until 3:45 and Harlan County until 3:30 this afternoon. Keep it tuned here to WYMT. We'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon and evening. Now back to regular programming. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley. We continue to follow this severe weather situation. We now have a new tornado warning, very serious situation. Tornado warning for Jackson County. As you recall, they were under a severe thunderstorm warning a few minutes ago. That has changed now to a tornado warning for Jackson County until 3:45 this afternoon. Let's go to Sky Alert radar, and I'll put it in motion. And you can see the storm bearing down now on Jackson County. They keep popping up to the west of us. Tornado warning now for Jackson County. At 3:14, Doppler radar indicated a severe thunderstorm with a likely tornado. They used the word a likely tornado near Kirby Knob, or 8 miles northwest of McKee. The storm is moving east at 35 miles per hour. The tornado will be near Drip Rock around 3:20 and Wind Cave around 3:25. For your safety, move to a basement. Get under something sturdy if you're in Jackson County. If no basement is available, move to the lowest floor of the building in an interior hallway or room. Use blankets or pillows to cover your body and stay away from windows. If you're in a mobile home, very important, if you're in a mobile home or vehicle, evacuate them and get inside to a substantial shelter. We saw just last week how a mobile home is not a place to be. A tornado touchdown in near Somerset and destroyed a trailer park. A mobile home not the place to be during a tornado, or a vehicle. Now, if no shelter is available, lie flat in a ditch and cover your head with your hands. Repeating, tornado warning for Jackson County until 3:45 this afternoon. The tornado will be near Drip Rock around 3:20 and Wind Cave around 3:25. Also, severe thunderstorm warning continues for about 10 more minutes for Harlan County until 3:30. Tornado watch is in effect for all of central and eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock tonight. The Weather Service expects more storms to keep popping up throughout the afternoon with the possibility of producing tornadoes. These storms also producing numerous reports of flooding throughout the area. Here in Perry County, in the city of Vico, we've heard reports of several houses flooded this afternoon. So these storms not only producing severe weather, but flooding as well. Again, to repeat, the most important weather information we can get to you right now is that there is a tornado warning for Jackson County until 3:45. I can hear our warning sirens going off right now with another warning. We'll get that to you as soon as possible. If we can put Sky Alert up over me, and let's just have that running continuously, our Sky Alert warning system. There you see the radar again, just numerous storms popping up across eastern Kentucky. So to repeat, the latest tornado warning for Jackson County until 3:45, severe thunderstorm warning for Harlan County until 3:30. Keep it here to WYMT. Our Jim Caldwell has just walked in the door. He will keep you updated as long as so will I the rest of the afternoon. Stay right here to WYMT. Good afternoon again. I'm Steve Hensley with the WYMT. We have several more warnings to tell you about. First of all, the most important warning is a tornado warning that's in effect for Jackson County until 3:45 this afternoon. Again, the tornado will be near Drip Rock around 3:20 and Wind Cave around 3:25. Also, several flash flood warnings have just been issued for Leslie and Letcher County until 6:15 and Harlan County until 7:15. Now at 3:10, County Judge Executive Carol Smith in Letcher County reported that at 2:30, the corner of Highway 15 and 1811 near Van was flooded. Also in Leslie County, the fire department reported that at 2:30, a car was stranded at Hurricane Creek Road near Wooten. And radar has estimated that 2 to 2.5 inches of rain has fallen in the last hour in southern Leslie County. Also, earlier than this, we've had numerous reports of flooding from here in Perry County, and in fact, flash flood warnings continue for Perry County until 4:30, Knott County until 4:45, and Breathitt County until 4:15. And again, the most serious warning we have right now is for Jackson County. They are under a tornado warning until 3:45. And the latest warnings, one more time we have for you, flash flood warning for Leslie and Letcher counties until 6:15. A flash flood warning is in effect for Harlan counties until 7:15. We've had numerous reports of flooding in all of these counties. Also today, reports of power outages. I can tell you firsthand there is a power outage in the Airport Gardens section of Perry County. There's no power at my house, and I'm sure there are other power outages scattered across eastern Kentucky. I think now we're going to go over to Jim Caldwell, who is at the Sky Alert Weather Center now. Jim, what's the latest?
All right, Steve, as you mentioned here a second ago, tornado warning. That's the biggest deal we've got out in East Kentucky right now, at least where we're going to put most of our concern at this point in time. Jackson County under a tornado warning for the next little bit. It's at least going on for the next 15 minutes or so. What we're looking at here is the actual storm moving through portions of Jackson County, and it's going to head on off toward the east. Now, we're going to get to the tips in just a second, but I'm going to broaden things out a little bit and show you the Sky Alert radar, the entire region here in East Kentucky with our Sky Alert radar. And there you see the storm moving through portions of Jackson County, and you see some of the heavier rain also moving through portions of Harlan County down there. I know we mentioned a flash flood warning for the folks down in that area, and we're just going to quickly take a radar tour here, and I'm going to look at the southern side of the storm. You can see still some very heavy rain in portions of Jackson County. Here's my tornado tips we wanted to get to. If you're in Jackson County, get to a basement or an underground shelter. If no basement, get to the lowest floor of your home or an interior room or a hallway. Get under a sturdy piece of furniture. Stay away from doors and windows. And listen to this. This is very important, gang. Mobile homes should be abandoned. Again, mobile homes should be abandoned. They are not a safe place to be at all. And we're talking about a tornado watch that lasts way up until the evening hours tonight. What is the difference? This is very important, too. A tornado watch means they're possible, the conditions are favorable, the atmosphere is prime for the picking, and a tornado warning means that one's been spotted or indicated by Doppler radar. It means one is occurring, at least by standards of the Weather Service, and it's issued sometimes with little warning, and sometimes there's actually no warning at all. But that's what we've got here. Tornado warning again in effect for Jackson County. Had one a little earlier for Clay County, and numerous reports of the possibility of tornadoes in eastern Kentucky so far with some wind damage I know we received here in portions of Perry County. Radar didn't indicate anything that looked like that, but again, sometimes that can be a possibility, the fact that there could have been a tornado or some type of rotation in there. There was some small rotation, but I was speaking with the folks at the Weather Service who were monitoring the storm at the time it happened, and I called them on the phone a few minutes ago on my way in, and they did say there was a little bit of rotation there. But again, anything can happen in this type of situation. It's been a horrible week weather-wise, so I can understand a lot of people out there being scared and things. But we're going to jump back over to Steve. I'm going to go get some more information, update some radars and things, and we'll be right back. Steve's going to stay here until I get back. Steve, what have you got over there for us, buddy?
Well, Jim, just to reiterate what you said, the latest is there is a tornado warning for Jackson County until 3:45, and Jim was talking about the tornado tips. Also, flash flooding can be very dangerous, especially when you have 2 inches of rain falling in less than an hour. Houses, we understand there have been some houses flooded in the Vico section of Perry County. Also reports of flash flooding really in several counties. Our Keith Hudson just got back from Breathitt County, and I understand we do have some video in now from Breathitt County from Highway 15 in Breathitt County, if we can take a look at that. And this is video. You can see some flash flooding there. Of course, those people are doing what you're not supposed to do, driving across standing water. Of course, never do that, especially at night when you can't see how deep the water is. But as you can see, some roads flooded there in Breathitt County. I can't emphasize enough how fast this storm moved through and how quickly it dumped, I bet, 2 inches of rain here in half an hour. I mean, it was the hardest rain I believe I have ever seen. Folks out, I was out driving in it. People were at a standstill. You could not see the road. It was just an absolute monsoon here for a good 15 or 20 minutes. There you can see an area known for high water, where it was high water now. So as you can see there in Breathitt County, our Keith Hudson out there shooting video when that first storm moved through Breathitt County, then it moved southeast through Perry County. And again, more storms firing up to the west of us. Again, there is a tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock this afternoon. Jim Caldwell is back in now with more information. Jim?
All right, Steve, we're watching this storm over in Jackson County on radar. Here's the latest image. You still see some very intense action going on in this storm, but it's also beginning to move into portions of Lee and Owsley County. Now, if you're in either one of these counties, Lee or Owsley, get ready for a doozy. This is a real strong thunderstorm beginning to move through your area. As far as it being tornadic, that's hard to say at this point, whether it will be, whether they'll issue a warning or not. The folks in Jackson County are still under a warning until 3:45, and again, that gives us about 10 or 11 minutes worth of that. But again, if you're in Lee and Owsley counties, get ready, batten down the hatches, get ready, go ahead and get in your safe spot, go ahead and get in a basement, get into the lowest floor of your home, and just try to be safe before the storm ever gets there. Again, that tornado warning in effect for the folks over in Jackson County. This is just a broader view of the Sky Alert radar, and you can see the initial wave that moved through about 3 hours ago, getting some of the action to roll through. You see that storm move through portions of Perry County. Now we're talking about this storm over here in portions of Jackson County. Now again, tornado tips, these are very important. We cannot get these out to you enough. Get to a basement or some type of an underground shelter if you've got one. If you have no basement, then get to the lowest floor of your home in an interior room or a hallway. Cover yourself with pillows, blankets, something that will add a little pad, and just in case something of the debris were to fall on yours or things. Get under a sturdy piece of furniture. That's also always handy. Stay away from doors and windows. And again, mobile homes should be abandoned. Mobile homes should be abandoned. They're not a safe place to be, even if they are anchored. And we mentioned there's tornado watches and warnings all across the area. Again, tornado watch possible in the area. Everybody that's in the area tonight, all across East Kentucky, we've got a map coming up here in a second that will show you who is under the watch and who's under several warnings out there. Here it is. It's got a coat of many colors, but what we're looking at here, everybody in this color of red, this lighter shade of red, that's where the tornado watch is at. And gang, this stretches out into portions of Illinois, Missouri. So this is a large complex of thunderstorms also out there trying to get fired up here or there. And you see numerous flash flood warnings. That's indicated there by the green. And then severe thunderstorm warnings for the folks also down there in portions of Harlan County. But that's what the watch box looks like. And even though Pike County, Lawrence County, you're not included in the watch, that does not mean that you are out of the woods by any means. Still the possibility of seeing some good storms move into your area as well. This is the statewide radar, and we're just going to show you this to show you what all is going on out there. And you see a large cluster of thunderstorms also moving now into the Louisville metro area, and more showers and storms also in western portions of Kentucky. And you can see all these little spotty reds. Very, very dangerous. At least they are today. And again, that tornado warning still in effect for the folks over in Jackson County for the next 9 minutes or so. And we're just taking a radar tour here, trying to show you some things that are going on out there before we go back to Jackson County. Laurel County seeing some heavy rain. You see the storm moving through portions of Jackson County. And if you are in Lee or Owsley counties, go ahead, batten down the hatches, get ready, because that storm is on the way. And this, that's a little old, that's a map's a little bit old for us. This was from last week, but we've got a lot of stuff in this weather lineup I've got made today. And again, let's go back to Jackson County. You can see it's moving out of that county now. It's beginning to develop in portions of Lee and Owsley counties. And again, it's producing very strong winds and hail, probably the size of quarters. Just probably not a good possibility to see that as well. Now we're going to jump over to Steve. Again, I'm going to go get some more information together, gather some things, and show you some more things that are going on out there. Steve.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Let's go over the flash flood warnings we have once again. We have flash flood warnings for Leslie and Letcher counties until 6:15 and Harlan counties until 7:15. Those were just issued not too long ago, and we still have flash flood warnings in effect for the first round of storms that moved through Perry, Knott, and Breathitt counties. Perry County's flash flood warning goes to 4:30, Knott counties until 4:45, and Breathitt counties until 4:15. You saw the video just a few minutes ago from Breathitt County. Obviously some flooding there, some serious flooding also taking place in parts of Perry County. We understand particularly, we've heard in the Vico area where a 911 dispatcher told me that several houses have been flooded in the Vico area. Also at just about, 30 minutes ago, the county judge in Letcher County, Carol Smith, reported that at 2:30, the corner of Highway 15 and 1811 near Van was flooded. Also in Leslie County, the fire department reported at 2:30 a car was stranded at Hurricane Creek Road near Wooten. And radar has estimated that just in southern Leslie County alone, 2 to 2.5 inches of rain has fallen there. I can tell you firsthand that I would guess at least 2 inches fell here in Perry County, probably in 30 minutes' time. So again, flash flood warnings for Leslie, Letcher until 6:15, for Harlan until 7:15, Perry until 4:30, Knott County until 4:45, at Breathitt County until 4:15. And again, we do have a tornado warning that is still in effect for Jackson County for the next 5 minutes. Again, that storm moving out of Jackson County now, and we'll see if that warning is allowed to expire. Expect maybe some more warnings to be issued here in the next few minutes. Also, a tornado watch remains in effect for most of eastern Kentucky, with the exception, as Jim told you just a few minutes ago, with the exception of Pike and up around Lawrence counties until 10 o'clock tonight. Just because you're not included in the watch doesn't mean you couldn't see some severe weather later this afternoon. The National Weather Service expects that severe storms will continue to fire up this afternoon. As you saw on the radar, storms are out in western Kentucky. They have also been producing tornado warnings this afternoon. We're going to break away and go back to regular programming for a minute. Jim Caldwell will be back with you as soon as we get any more warnings. Now back to regular programming.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Collin with the WYMT Sky Alert Weather Center. Just printed off tornado warning in effect for Clay County. This goes until 4:15. This is the second one they've had today, so obviously a very active weather pattern we're dealing with out there. The tornado is going to be near the folks over near Chestnutburg around 3:45, Laurel Creek around 3:50, Felty around 3:55. So those are just some of the areas there in front of this likely tornado. Doppler radar indicated this tornado, a little rotation on the radar near Shepherdtown, or 11 miles northwest of Manchester. This storm's moving rather slow, though. It's moving right around 25 miles an hour, and it's headed off toward the east. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about what we're seeing here on radar real quick. This is the storm moving through portions of Clay County. You see it's got rather intense over the last little bit as it's coming out of portions of Laurel County, and you see some heavier rain there in Leslie County as well. Trying to get the best angle on this storm that we possibly can. You see it there, some of the more intense activity moving through the county now. Going to continue to move off toward the east at right around 25 miles an hour. This storm also, if it doesn't produce a tornado in your area, it's still likely to produce some decent-sized hail. You're also talking about some very, very strong, gusty winds, maybe 65, 70 miles an hour. I'll check the tagline on that. A great possibility of seeing very, very strong winds also move through the area over the next little bit. So if you're in Leslie County, we're talking about it moving 25 miles toward the east. You can already see portions of that system working its way across the county line. It will continue to work into your area, too. And again, whether or not it's going to be severe or not, or tornadic, that's yet to be determined, because every minute by minute counts. So we'll wait and see. But for the folks over in Leslie County, portions of that area too, go ahead and get ready. This is wonderful. The technology has come so far over the last 10 years especially. We can warn you ahead of time. We know what's going on. So if you're in Leslie County, just be ready. Folks in Clay County, get to your safe places right now. Tornado warning in effect for you all. We'll show you the one that was in effect for Jackson County, set to expire, and I do anticipate that it will be, because the most intense portions of the storm has now moved out of the county, now cruising into Lee and Owsley County, batten down the hatches. If you are in either one of those counties on this severe weather day, again here in East Kentucky. This is a Sky Alert radar view all of East Kentucky, and you can see the storms moving through portions of East Kentucky. You see that strong cell of a storm moving through, trying to work its way into Lee and Owsley counties. You can see our very intense storm also moving through portions of Clay County, and that's where our latest tornado warning has been issued from, and it goes until 4:15 this evening. And anytime you can hear the word warning, remember, that means it has been indicated on radar. They think that rotation on the radar somewhere in that storm was so strong and strong enough that they can issue a tornado warning for the folks in that county, because when you hear that word, that means, hey, we need to pay attention. There's a warning out. We've got to get to our safe spot, because this is a life-threatening situation, potentially life-threatening. So again, tornado warning in effect for those folks until about 4:15 over in Clay County, and the possibility of some heavy rains also exists with this storm as well. So if you're out and about, please be careful. Here's the tornado tips. We can't show these enough on a day like today. Get to a basement or another underground shelter. That is very, very important. If there's no basement, get to the lowest floor of your home or an interior room of the hallway on that bottom floor. That's where you need to be at. What we want you to do is we want you to put as many walls between you and the outside world as you possibly can to protect you from some of that direct blow from the wind. So again, put as many walls in between you and the outside world as you can. And get under a sturdy piece of furniture. I've heard stories through the years of people, they'll get under their couch. They'll flip the couch over. They'll get underneath it and things like that, or get under a strong table back at home. I know we've got an old table. I think it's about 35 or 40 years old, and it is made out of solid oak. It is one tough table, and I know that as a kid, we always climbed under it when we'd hear things like this going on. So that's a good possibility. Go to that. And again, a good place in a hallway on the bottom floor. Get into a closet if you've got one. Go in there because you're putting more walls between you and the outside world. Cover up with blankets, pillows, something to protect your body. And if you've got a radio, get your radio in there, battery-powered radio. Listen to what's going on weather-wise, or if you've got some other things as well, you need to You also need to, I was reading a message there, you also need to just take caution. Pillows, blankets, anything you possibly can, put them around you. You don't want to be hurt. I don't want you hurt. I care too much for you to see that happen. Stay away from doors and windows. You get the direct blow from wind, and mobile homes should be abandoned. Okay, real quick here, we've got severe thunderstorm warning in effect for our friends over in Wise County, Virginia. That goes until 4 p.m. That goes on for the next little bit here. And as I mentioned just at the beginning of this tornado cut-in, the tornado warning for Jackson County has been allowed to expire. But it's still a very intense storm. It's moving in on Lee and Owsley County, so probably maybe a warning could come out for those folks over there. If there's not a warning, this is a doozy of a storm anyway moving through that area at this time. And this is just a report, a damage report that's just come in. There's a huge oak tree over the Highway 80 near Wooten Fire Department over in Leslie County. Again, we were just talking about getting under an oak table, and it's going to be even harder to move that oak tree over Highway 80 near Wooten, the Wooten Fire Department over in that area. Tornado warning for Clay County. That lasts until 4:15. Tornado warning. I keep emphasizing this too. What does it mean? That means it's spotted. It's been indicated. Sometimes they're issued with little or no warning, but the main thing is it was indicated by Doppler radar, and the folks over the Weather Service, they saw it necessary to definitely issue a warning for this storm due to the possibility of some good rotation in that storm. What do I mean by rotation? I just mean, just think of what a tornado looks like. They see some spin, and they think there's a possibility it's strong enough to get to the ground, and in that case, that's when they issue the tornado warnings. You can see the list there of watches. I'm going to get a cleaner graphic in a little while, but right now the most important thing is to know that everybody in East Kentucky, even you, Pike County, the possibility of seeing some severe storms does exist, and the conditions are favorable. This atmosphere is prime for the possibility of tornadic activity here across much of East Kentucky tonight. This is the statewide radar just to show you what's going on all across the state. You see a scattering of storms out here, strong little intense thunderstorms really starting to fire up. Getting a warm, muggy air mass coming in from the south. There's been a warm front lift toward our north. That's what ignited some of the storms a little bit earlier, and that's why we're also seeing some of the tornadic activity, thunderstorms all across East Kentucky. And Highway 317 between Neon and Goose Creek over in Letcher County, that is flooded. Again, Highway 317 between Neon and Goose Creek is flooded. So if you're over in that area, what do we do when we come upon a flooded road? Let's remember this. We stop, turn around, and go the other way. Remember, it's very similar to what we learned when we were in school about stop, drop, and roll. This is just in a car. Stop, turn around, and go the other way. That's what you have to do. It's a very dangerous situation when you drive through flooded waters, and that's over at 317 between Neon and Goose Creek. And we've also got that report of a huge oak tree over Highway 80 near the Wooten Fire Department over in Leslie County, okay? Now let's go ahead and one last time, we'll update you on this situation over in portions of Clay County. We see the storm trying to develop over in that area. We'll also get you up to date on the latest warnings here in just a few minutes. Stay right there. I'll be back in just a few minutes. I've got to get some more information, and we'll be right back. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Caldwell in the WYMT Sky Alert Weather Center. We're tracking severe weather yet again today. Tornado warning in effect for the folks over in Clay County until 4:15 p.m. You can see Clay County right here and still seeing some intense attributes about this storm moving through that area now. And I thought you had some information there, but Steve was coming out here. We're getting ready to do some more stuff here, but Clay County's tornado warning in effect for you until 4:15. But what does that mean for you? That means you want to be safe. You want to be, if you've got a basement, there's your number one place to be. You want to get as far below the ground as you can get. If you've got a basement, go down there. If you don't have a basement, you want to get to the lowest floor of your home. You want to be in the center of your home. And what the center means is I want to put as many walls between me and the outside world as I possibly can. And that's what you want to do. You want to also cover yourself up with pillows, blankets, and anything you can. Get under a sturdy piece of furniture, a good old oak table or something you have there, because that's going to also protect you from the possibility of some falling debris inside your house. You want to remember that. Clay County's tornado warning in effect for you. A warning means that it has been indicated on radar. There is some rotation, and what I mean by rotation, I mean there's spin that is standing straight up and down, and there's a possibility it could be producing a tornado. And the folks of the Weather Service have determined that there's a great possibility one is spinning here in portions of Clay County. There's what we've got on radar. If you're in Leslie County now, you want to be prepared. This storm's headed your way. Whether or not it's tornadic, when it gets there, it's still going to produce some pretty heavy rain and probably a lot of lightning and thunder and some very strong winds. It's already in northern portions of the county and over here in portions of Perry County as well. We're getting ready to get possibly some more heavy rain move through our area. We're going to give you a couple of other perspectives here. We were talking about tornado warning for Jackson County earlier. That's moved out. The storm beginning to weaken some now. Because I didn't know whether or not we were going to talk about severe thunderstorms for the folks over in Lee-Nasley County. So as I mentioned, I said there's a possibility, and it weakened considerably once it got into that area. But we're still looking at that one down in portions of Clay County. This is just the view of all of East Kentucky, so we can know what's going on everywhere, so all of us can be ready. And what we're looking at here, again, just the thunderstorms moving through that area, and more rain all spread out across all of East Kentucky this evening. Now, we've got some information that Steve's going to pass along to you. We actually have somebody on the phone with more, so let's jump over there to Steve real quick.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. We've been telling you this afternoon, one of the places we've heard of where there's been some damage this afternoon is in the Vico community of Perry County. Joining us on the phone now is Jason Combs with the Vico Fire Department. Jason, can you hear me, first of all?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Combs, first of all, just tell me what kind of damage you have over there in Vico.
We got trees uprooted, flooding bad down in Vico. We've evacuated all of Vico, downtown Vico.
All of downtown Vico has been evacuated. Do you have any idea yet how many homes have been flooded?
We ain't got a exact total at this time. Maybe about 50.
50 homes possibly have been flooded in Vico. Sir, we had a report earlier that out of the fire department there that a tornado had touched down. The National Weather Service hasn't been able to confirm that. Do you know anything about that?
We can't confirm it was a tornado, but I've talked to a few residents that we've evacuated. They said trees was being twisted while they was looking out the window.
Have any houses been damaged by wind over there?
We had one house that was hit by a tree and the roof tore off of it. We can't be sure it was done by the tornado or what.
Jason, has anyone been injured?
Not as we know of. Not yet. We ain't found out that nobody's been hurt.
What is the situation with the flooding right now? Is the water still coming up?
Right now it looks like it's going to go down, but it looks like it's got to rain more.
And talk about the severity of this flooding. You say maybe as many as 50 homes have been flooded there. Is the water, how high is the water in some of these homes?
It's about a foot high in some of the homes. Mostly basements have been flooded.
And is this, we heard this is maybe due to too much water in the Carr Creek Dam area. Is that right?
That's what we've got some information. Said the Carr Creek Dam is holding as much as they can.
Okay. In your experience, is this the worst you've seen in that area?
It's the worst I've ever seen in it.
Okay. Jason Combs with the Vico Volunteer Fire Department again reporting that maybe as many as 50 homes have been flooded in that area. So not only has there been some wind damage reported in several counties, but it looks like flooding may be causing the worst damage across several counties. Again, that's the worst report we've heard of this afternoon, is that up to 50 homes may have been flooded. Again, you know, some of them may have been just basements, but nevertheless, homes have been flooded in the Vico section of Perry County. Also had several reports of power outages across eastern Kentucky, including one in the Airport Garden section of Perry County, where I live. The power outage, as of an hour ago, it was still out, and that's from that first line of storms that moved through here just after 1 o'clock, produced torrential amounts of rain. In fact, I believe it's raining again here in Perry County. I hear it on the rooftop. That's not what we need. We have several flash flood warnings to tell you about. First of all, let's just repeat the tornado warning we have right now, and that's for Clay County until 4:15, so about 10 more minutes for that tornado warning. We do have flash flood warnings for Leslie and Letcher counties until 6:15, Harlan County until 7:15, and the rain is coming down in buckets now here in Hazard. Once again, definitely not what we need. Tornado watch is in effect for almost all of central and eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock tonight. The Weather Service believes more storms are going to be popping up. In fact, if you've been listening to our coverage, there are also tornado warnings out right now for counties in northwestern and in western Kentucky. In fact, a tornado warning was issued just a short time ago for Jefferson County. That's the Louisville area, and tornadoes have been spotted. So just a volatile, dangerous afternoon shaping up here in eastern Kentucky. And really, we had a nice day yesterday, but all of last week, severe weather just about every single day. And we've already had, I believe, 3 tornado warnings this afternoon in eastern Kentucky. 2 of them have been in one county, in Clay County. Let's go back over to Jim Caldwell now, who has the latest weather information. Jimmy?
All right, Steve. Now, this is just adding insult to injury for the folks over in Clay County. Now there's a flash flood warning due to the fact the immense amount of rainfall that's falling over there. It's going to go until about 8 p.m. tonight, and they're talking about, let's see, up to 1 1/2 inches of rain in the last hour. So you're 1.5 inches of rain in 1 hour's time. That is a lot. So you do need to be aware of that situation. The tornado warning still in effect. They haven't canceled it yet. Power just went out here at the station. We've got another doozy trying to move through here. Tornado warning in effect for the folks over in Clay County until roughly 4:15. Now, there's some indication of certain areas of this beginning to weaken quite a bit there. You can see some more of the yellow, so that's always a good thing. But still, it's a very dangerous situation. A tornado warning for the next little bit. Here comes a storm into portions of Perry County that we're talking about that just knocked the power off. If you were watching just a second ago, it blipped us off the screen for a second. Heavier rains now beginning to move into portions of Leslie County. And again, this is always a dangerous situation, whether or not there's one gust of wind, which there usually is. But lightning is the #2 weather-related killer, and flash flooding. And flooding is the #1 weather-related killer. And many people would say, why wouldn't a tornado be? Well, we want to think, first of all, you want to thank the government, because over the last 10 years, they invested millions of dollars into getting technology up to date over the last little bit, so we can get better warnings out to you in this type of weather situation. So that's why fatalities have declined dramatically over the last at least 10 years or so, since they implemented mandatory Doppler radar all across the United States at National Weather Service specified sites. And so that has been a huge lifesaver. And again, that's what we're detecting here is a tornado and a tornado warning. They issued this with plenty of time in advance, we sure hope. All right, now let's give you some more tours here and show you what else is going on here across East Kentucky. Again, there's that storm moving through portions of Clay County. It's weakening considerably. Here's the view of all of East Kentucky, where we're still seeing little pockets of heavier rain and more thunderstorms moving through the area. Here comes the storm for us here in Perry County. This one's not going to be quite as bad as the other one was earlier, because that other storm that moved through a couple hours ago was so huge and produced heavy rain in such a short amount of time. And, of course, a good piece stronger as well as far as winds are concerned as well. But the tornado warning, that's what I want to continue to beat into your head there, is still in effect with the folks over in Clay County until 4:15. A watch for everybody in the viewing area. Even though Pike County's not included, you could still see some severe weather. Lawrence County, you could see some. The folks over in Virginia, Dickinson County, Wise, Virginia, Lee County, Virginia, you all could still see some severe weather as well, because you're just too close not to. It's a possibility. We won't rule that out. And as a matter of fact, just a few minutes ago, they'd issued a warning for the folks over in Wise, and since then it has been allowed to expire. But still, it's just the fact that it could still happen anywhere out there. The tornado watch, atmosphere's prime for the pickings for a good possibility of a tornado. Here's our tornado tips. Cannot show these enough either. Get to a basement or underneath some type of a shelter. If you've got an underground shelter, that is a great place to be. No basement. Get to the lowest floor of your home and get to an interior room or hallway. Get under a sturdy piece of furniture. We want to stay away from windows, folks. We want to stay away from them. Doors as well, as that wind can come gusting through, blow them wide open, throw things through them, bust the glass. There's so many things that can happen when you stand too close to those things. So you do want to get away from them. Mobile homes. This is something we hear more and more of. Last week, we were talking about tornadoes, a strong F1 tornado over in portions of Pulaski County. and mobile home damage was one of the big things, the #1 thing down there. We heard of it turning the trailer over and over again. That's why they should be abandoned. They are not a good place to be during this type of a situation. And you hear reports all across the nation of mobile homes, how dangerous they really can be in this type of severe weather situation. And that was the last week was a prime example of why they are a very dangerous place to be in this type of weather scenario. But again, let's go ahead and check out some more things we've got here for you in the warning. I want you all to know this because when the warning is issued, that means something's going on. You need to take immediate shelter at that point. A tornado watch, you need to watch the skies. You need to watch your television. You need to listen to your radio. That's what a watch means. And there's a watch out for all of us until later on tonight, so you need to do just that. You need to stay in tune with us here at WYMT. We'll pull another all-nighter if need be, so you just stay right here with us. We'll stay a while. And we've got more storms moving into the area. I don't know if you can hear the thunder or not, but, buddy, it's really starting to get louder and louder. And we're just looking at more complexes of thunderstorms moving all through the area. And again, this is a look at the area that is being hit the hardest, Clay County, tornado warning until 4:15. You've got about 5 minutes on that, Guy. But here in portions of Perry County, also seeing another round of heavier rain try to work its way in here. In portions of Leslie County, you're getting ready to see more of the larger complex of this storm move into your area here in just the next few minutes. So again, folks over near Hyde and Thousand Sticks, Wooten, all those areas, and numerous other areas, I could name them all, but just be ready. Go ahead and get in your safe spot. That's the thing to be. And when we talk about this and we say get in your safe spot, you better do it because you've got a storm on your heels that was already producing a possible tornado. So again, get into your safe spot if you're over in Leslie County. This storm should be cruising out of Clay County in the next little bit. Next round going into Leslie County. Whether or not that'll be severe or not, we don't know yet because we don't know what the storm is doing. Will do once it gets over Leslie County. The situation can change just like that. That's why you need to stay with YMT because we're right here for you and we'll get you up to date on the latest weather situations. But we're going to go quickly back to regular programming, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes to update you a little bit more. Also, want to do this again. Want to emphasize this. Clay County's flash flood warning will go until 8 p.m. tonight, and the tornado warning does continue for the next couple of minutes for the folks over in Clay County. So still seeing some rotation, possibility of a tornado over there. Let's see what the latest information is on this. Still moving east about 35 miles an hour. If the storms continue, now listen to this. This is a little tagline the Weather Service is tagged on here. It says, if the storm continues to strengthen, it would pose a threat of high winds or a tornado. And what we're just talking about over in Leslie County. So you need to go ahead and get in your shelter, get in your safe spot, bottom floor of your house, get in your basement, somewhere like that. That's the safest place to be. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to warn you. That's if you want to try to stay out of harm's way. That's where you need to be at. And the folks near Asher's Fork, Bright Shade, Creekville, Gardner are in the path of this storm at this point. And the storm affecting northern portions of Clay County has weakened and no longer appeared producing some severe weather. Buddy, I'll tell you what, it's a doozy out there. It's the second time we lost power in the last couple of minutes, so it's starting to really try to hammer down in portions of Perry County as well. So I'm going to go, there's the thunder, I'm going to go try to get us up to date more on this weather situation. You stay right there.
Severe weather hits eastern Kentucky once again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley. This is a special abbreviated edition on the weekend of Mountain News at 6 o'clock. Severe weather has struck eastern Kentucky hard this afternoon, starting just after 1 o'clock, and really Breathitt and Perry counties were the first areas hit, but we've had several tornado warnings this afternoon, in fact 2 in Clay County alone. To begin our coverage tonight, let's go over to Jim Caldwell with the latest watches and warnings. Jim?
All right, Steve, it's been a very, very active weather day. But the good news is at this point, there's no severe weather threatening East Kentucky at this point. No severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. However, there is a watch out. We'll talk about that in a second, though. The warnings we do have mainly right at this point are flash flood warnings, and those are very dangerous as well because we know that flooding is the #1 weather-related killer that there is out there in the United States. And even considering tornadoes comes a little farther on down the list. But there's a flash flood warning right now in effect for the folks over in Clay County until 8. Not in Perry counties until 8:30, and just a lot of rain falling in a short amount of time in all these places and saturated grounds from last week's storms. Boy, that'll sure do you over in a hurry. Leslie and Letcher until 6:15, Harlan County until 7:15, and those are the warnings that I have in front of me at this point. And numerous others could come down as we head through the evening. There's a flood watch for everybody. That lasts until tomorrow afternoon sometime. So right around 12 o'clock, if memory serves me correct. Let me show you the sky alert radar and what's happened the last hour in certain portions of our viewing area. This storm produced possibly a tornado, southern portions of Leslie County. It moved on over into portions of Harlan County. This was the storm that produced the warning. That storm has died down considerably. Now, it's still a thunderstorm. It's still producing some heavy rain, but it has calmed down quite a bit. And you see some heavier rain now trying to work its way back into portions of Perry County, over in Leslie County. We're talking about flash flood warnings for those folks. Heavy rain working its way into Clay County again, and that is not what we want to see on our Doppler radar. This is the wide view all across East Kentucky. This is what's happened the last 3 hours. We've watched round after round move through portions of East Kentucky. Now, what we're starting to see is all this beginning to clear out. But what folks in Central Kentucky are seeing, we've been watching some of the WKYT coverage of this, and it is really an intense time for those folks up there as well. You see the cluster of storms in that area moving through portions also of Fayette County, and it is a dandy. Well, I've been seeing some video near I-75, I-64, live video, where it looked like nothing more than what you would see when we see the hurricane video. That's exactly what it looked like, the way the winds were blowing, the way the trees were swaying. It was a very impressive video from portions of Fayette County. Now, what we've got here is some hail reports out of the community of Bledsoe. I got these pictures just a few minutes ago, and I'll plug the fellow who sent them to me here in just a second. But you see, look at the size of some of that hail. And as a matter of fact, to prove to us how large this hail was, he took a picture of it in his hand, and you can see there with his tape measure there that it's roughly 2.5 inches there. Look at that. That's a piece of hail he's got there in his hand. Large hail falling all across East Kentucky today. Tornado watch that lasts until 10 p.m. for the entire viewing area, excluding, officially the watch doesn't include Pike County, but nonetheless, severe weather could still be likely for you folks out there in that area. Now, we've got some more information to pass along to you, and Steve Hensley and our Keith Hudson, they've got a whole lot more coming up for you. Let's go back to Steve.
That's right, Jim. Thank you very much. And as soon as there are any more warnings to pass along, we'll get immediately back to Jim Caldwell. But our Keith Hudson has been out in Breathitt and Perry counties this afternoon surveying the damage. He joins us now live outside our studios with more. Keith?
Well, Steve, you know, it's kind of ironic right now. There was a rainbow just behind me a few minutes ago, but just a few hours earlier, strong winds and heavy rains were forcing many eastern Kentuckians to scramble, you know, to find cover, to save their homes, and also their lives. Around 1 in straight-line wind struck the city of Bitco, leaving residents trying to seek shelter. Trees were uprooted and property was damaged, but fortunately no one was hurt. Heavy rainfall has now overtaken the area, resulting in severe flooding along many homes. While the possibility of a tornado touching down hasn't been confirmed, I wouldn't say plenty of damage has been done.
Going on these houses, it's got quite a bit of damage to them. Their basements are flooded. It's just pretty bad right now.
Now, again, we want to tell you that there's been no confirmed reports of a tornado touching down in Perry County at this time in Vicco, but flooding is still a devastating reality in this area. Steve?
Keith, any idea how many homes did you see were affected? Any idea how many homes in the Vicco area were affected by this flooding?
Steve, I saw several homes, especially mobile homes that, you know, there was one residence in particular where I saw, you know, the mudslide was actually, you know, she couldn't get to her home. So there's a lot of flooding problems right now in Perry County.
Any injuries reported that you've heard of?
No, I did call the Perry County 911, and they told me that they hadn't received any calls of any injury. So that is the good news tonight, fortunately.
All right, Keith Hudson live outside our studios tonight, who's been out in Perry and Breathitt counties this afternoon, where these storms really first hit hard. There was one initial line of storms that came through Breathitt and Perry County. I believe the first warning we had was for Breathitt County, a flash flood warning, and then right after that we had severe thunderstorm warnings for Perry and Knott counties, I believe, and since then it's just been nonstop with wave after wave of storms. We're getting sort of a break right now. No severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings are in effect at this time for eastern Kentucky, although numerous counties remain under flash flood warnings for several more hours. We have had several damage reports come in from counties across eastern Kentucky. We got an email from Jack Miller over in Letcher County reporting many places along Highway 7 in Letcher County where water is standing on the road. The water, debris and trees down in the Burton Hill area of Letcher County. Also, the Doty Creek area in Jeremiah is flooded. He just urges everyone to be very careful when driving in Letcher County, and that goes ditto for all areas in eastern Kentucky. We've received a lot of rain over the last few hours. We also had a report earlier, emergency manager reports roof blown off a church at Blue Gable Straits on Highway 25E. And now we have some video coming out of Hazard that we just have in, near Hazard. This is on East Main Street in Hazard. You can see a lot of rainfall. It just came down so quick and there was nowhere for it to go. I was out driving in it, and I can also report we had hail hitting my vehicle when I was driving in here today, and it was just, you just could not drive for a while. It was just raining so hard. This is in the Walker Branch Road area near Hazard. You can see there just creeks overflowing their banks, running down a street there. And again, the rain just came down so hard and so fast, it just did not have anywhere to go. And the bad news is we could get even more rain tonight, and it won't take much to aggravate the flooding situation again. And hopefully we won't get too much more rain, because we may have to be concerned about river flooding. We haven't talked to the Weather Service about that yet, but I'm sure they're monitoring that situation as well. But again, we have more storms possibly moving in from central Kentucky. We've been monitoring WKYT. They have a storm right in their back door right now. They urged all of their employees to go down to the basement because they saw rotation in the radar. And so a lot of severe weather out there today. I believe today we've had more tornado warnings than any other day this week. Of course, we had several days in a row last week with severe weather. Let's go back to Jim Caldwell now, who has the latest information. Jim?
All right, Steve, you're right, buddy. We were here late at least every single night this week except for Friday night, dealing with severe weather potential, and it just kept popping up night after night. And we do have a report out of Perry County near Lots Creek. Water is over the road down there near Route 1081, I believe the report was. I didn't have time to print it because getting out here with this radar image, 1088. Water is over that road down there, and it's impassable. So if you're in that area, remember the rules. Stop, turn around, and go the other way when you see the water is over the road. You don't want to go through it because it doesn't take a whole lot to float your car. And I'm talking to the adults out there, the teenage drivers, those ones just got their license this week or last month. Remember that all your life. Remember that, because it can float your car. It just takes about 2 feet of water to float your car. If it's standing water, it takes about good 2 inches or so flowing hard to get your car flowing. If the water's flowing, it can get it to float. So it's just a couple of things to remind you of. I've got a question here that I'll answer in a second, but let's take a look at the Sky Alert radar and the last developments in the last little bit. Things have calmed down quite a bit here in East Kentucky over the last little bit. We still see some isolated pockets of some heavier rain, but none of them producing any severe weather. But the heavy rain is definitely not a welcome sight, especially on an area that is already seeing several counties under flash flood warnings. There's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Estill County, though, at this time. They're just outside of our viewing area. Maybe a storm could get sparked off of that and try to move back into portions of East Kentucky. But what we're looking at down through this area here, down toward Harlan, Letcher counties, over near Bell County, some clearing near Bell and Knox counties. Now we got that wind report out from the church there in 25E. And then you see just lighter bands of rain, even though it's showing some yellows and some oranges here or there, but it is considerably lighter when you think about what you had just a little while ago. Now here's our tornado watch box. This goes out until 10 p.m. And the question I had, somebody emailed me, a lady, I'm assuming from over in Pike County, she asked, why was it excluded from the tornado watch? And this is Tina Branham. And Tina, basically what happens is they issue these boxes to cover certain areas, and the box basically, when I say box, it really, sometimes it just cuts a county in half. And so it's all up to the Weather Service to include a county, to not include a county. And right now, the favorable area, the most likely to see it, is all the areas here in red. Now, Pike County could still very well see some severe weather. That is a great possibility as well, but that all comes out from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They are the main authority on that. And well, obviously, you say Storm Prediction Center, that's what they specialize in, and numerous other things, but that's what we refer to a lot, especially when we're talking about the summertime weather and the severe weather. But basically, that's the reason why these are cut off sometimes, but you're still favorable to see maybe some severe weather in your area. And this goes until 10 p.m. tonight for the entire viewing area. We can go ahead and safely say that. All right, Perry County, Leslie County, Harlan County earlier seeing that heavy rain. Things are calming down to, like I said, a great degree. You see a portion of Leslie County still seeing heavier doses of rain. They're under a flash flood warning anyway. Clay County also seeing some as well. Very close to the Hal Rogers Parkway, cruising through that area. And we'll take one more quick view at what we need to know about the difference between tornado watch and warning, because right now things are calm, but things could change in a hurry. As the watch is issued, tornadoes are possible in your area. These are issued in advance, as they were today, to let you know that the possibility of severe weather will exist, and the atmosphere is just right for maybe tornadic activity. And the tornado warning, that is the big one. That is the one you've got to look for, folks. When you hear that word, those two words, tornado warning, that means one has been spotted or indicated by radar. Basically, it is occurring by what the standards are for it to occur, and that's for it to be spotted on radar, or that's also for somebody out there to spot it. And if somebody out there spots it that is a trained weather spotter, that is almost as good as gold. And I'd encourage you to become a weather spotter. I'll have more information on that coming up this week, especially after this week of severe weather, but it's issued sometimes with little or no warning. But we're going to jump back over to the news desk with Steve Hensley, and he's going to have some more information for us.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And just going back to you for a second, we still have a flood watch in effect, and that goes until tomorrow, right?
That goes until noon tomorrow, Steve, and that covers the entire viewing area, every county. And what that means essentially is, hey, it's been raining a lot the last couple of days. There's a lot of moisture in the ground, and if anybody gets some heavy rain moving into their area, very well could be some flooding. That means watch out. That means, hey, let's pay attention. Let's just make sure the creeks and streams aren't rising when it starts to rain, because you are very favorable to see some heavier rain. Increase your creeks and streams, or if there's no creeks or streams in just an area that always is a nuisance flooding area, just standing water, because sometimes it doesn't have anywhere to go. That's another reason why the flood watch is issued, just to put the word out that we've already had a lot of rain, and any more could cause some warnings. So when you hear watch, pay attention, pay close attention. But when you hear warning, that means it's occurring. In any weather situation, that's what warning means. It's already occurring. So when we're talking about flash flood warnings, some flooding is occurring in all those counties over in portions of Leslie County, Clay County, Perry County, down into Harlan County. It's occurring. That's what the warning means. But the watch means it's very, very likely if we get more heavy rain, Steve.
All right, Jim, and obviously more storms are popping up to the west of us, so this may not be over with yet. We may have a long night ahead of us. Jim, I'll let you go ahead and go update your maps, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But again, just going over some damage reports. Of course, we've had numerous reports, too many to mention, of trees down, power lines down, and flash flooding. But just some specific reports. An emergency manager out of Barberville reported a roof blown off a church at Blue Gable Straits on Highway 25E. And also an email we got from Mr. Jack Miller saying many places on Highway 7 in Letcher County has water standing on the road. The debris and trees down in the Burton Hill area of Letcher County and the Doty Creek area in Jeremiah is flooded. And we invite you to email us your information or pictures. You saw the pictures of the hailstones earlier Jim showed you. You can email either Jim or myself. My email address is steve.hensley@wymtnews.com. There you see it on the bottom of your screen. Or you can email Jim with your pictures and information. Tell us what's going on in your area, and we can relay it to all the folks out there. We hope a lot of people are watching us. We know there are some power outages in the area. I can tell you in the Airport Gardens area of Perry County, there was a power outage. It may still be off. I haven't checked in the last couple of hours. That's where I live, but there was a prolonged power outage after the first wave of storms came through the hazard area about 1 o'clock, a little after 1 o'clock this afternoon. And as I mentioned all afternoon, it's one of the worst storms I've seen in a long time. I was in it, driving in it. People had to pull over to the side of the road. You could simply not drive. The rain was falling so hard. You could hear the hailstones falling, and it just looked like, as Jim said, it looked like a hurricane. What you would see in hurricane video is what moved through the hazard area about 1:15 this afternoon, and that prompted all kinds of flash flood warnings, and it caused all kinds of flooding. The main damage we've seen, I believe, this afternoon is from flooding. We have had some reports, however, of some wind damage to houses, but I think the significant damage this afternoon has been from flooding. We saw the video earlier out of the Vico area in southern Perry County. Some of the worst reports we've received are out of there, where earlier it was reported the entire town was being evacuated. Also up to 50 homes were flooded. Now, some of those were just basements, but nevertheless, several homes in southern Perry County were flooded this afternoon. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to break away just for a moment. We'll get back to Jim Caldwell in just a few minutes when there are any new warnings or watches to be issued. What we're going to do right now is join our sister station, WKYT, in progress. They're also talking about the severe weather that's bearing down on them right now. Of course, they just had a tornado touchdown in the Masterson Station area of Lexington earlier this week, and they're once again dealing with severe weather tonight and numerous tornado warnings out of that part of the state. So we're going to join them in progress for just a few minutes, but Jim Caldwell and myself will be back throughout the night. We'll be here as long as necessary with updates on this severe weather event today in Kentucky. Thanks.
A couple of minutes ago, letting you know about...
and also north, 2 miles north of Richmond, funnel cloud has been sighted there as well, right around 6. Obviously, the funnel clouds we've been telling you about here in the Lexington area. We've had numerous sightings coming from Lexington proper itself. So that's been the common theme. We're seeing funnel clouds from these, but so far, we have not seen that many reports, at least in the metro area, of any touchdowns. We'll keep our fingers crossed there.
It's almost like it's trying to form, but it's not quite making it, and that's exactly what we, if it's going to do it all, that's what we want it to do. If it's going to become a funnel, let's hope it has not touched down anywhere and created any damage, but definitely the possibility of that is going to exist. Needless to say now, central Kentucky and probably pressing eastward in a high risk for severe weather. We've already seen that. That goes without saying, but the Storm Prediction Center did update that over the last hour or so. Okay, we do have that video, and this is coming out. This is coming out of Louisville. I'm not exactly sure where this is, but this is damage I am suspecting is in Metro Louisville. Report of a tornado touchdown in Salvisa area of Mercer County. Right, this according to Harrisburg Police. Okay, there are 2 particular cells. Actually, let's go back to the radar if we can. There are 2 cells that we're really concerned about right now. We still have the tornado warning going for Franklin County until 6:30, Owen County until 6:30, and we're all clear in Shelby County. But this part of the cell right here that has moved out of northern Mercer into the southern part of Woodford County. You have to keep in mind, notice where the first circle is. And for those that are listening on the radio here, we're talking about the southern part of Woodford, and we're showing the northern part of Mercer County. Salvisa is down here in the bottom left-hand part of your screen where the second circle is located. So the first circle here, and we'll clear it and make another one here into the southwest part, and it just radar just updated into the south central part of Woodford County. This is the part of the storm that did have a possible tornado touchdown in Salvisa. It appears to be moving to the northeast. It is south of Versailles, and it is heading towards the west side of Lexington right now. So this is one that we're really going to be keeping an eye on here in the next little while. As we have told you, once again, if you're in a safe spot, severe thunderstorm warning out from Madison County until 6:45, that just out. If you're in a safe spot here in the metro area, you need to go ahead and stay there because these warnings and these cells are developing. They're coming out fast and furious, and it is better to be safe in your safe spot. If you do not know what to do, let's go ahead and put the warning, what to do in the event of a tornado warning. In case you have missed it, we've showed you this on numerous times, but of course, it does bear repeating. You need to go to a basement, and the key here is if you don't have a basement, go to an interior room on the lowest level of your home, preferably either a hallway or a closet. or a bathroom that does not have any windows, and cover yourself if you can to protect yourself from flying debris, and abandon a mobile home and go to a sturdier structure. Literally, just to add this quickly, just to show how much of a difference this can make. Yesterday, I took a little tour of the tornado damage out in Masterson Station, and one of the most decimated homes from the tornado. The only thing that was left standing was the center hallway, where these gentlemen did manage to take shelter with the rest of the home destroyed. So it can make a difference. You want to get away from interior walls, or actually exterior walls, that is, exterior windows, and get toward the center part of your house if you do not have a basement. But if you do have a basement, that is the best thing. All right, let's go back to our live first alert radar. This cell we are tracking. It is moving. It appears it's shifted to the north and the northeast just a little bit, and it may be one of these cases where we've got two different cells here. Three, really. West of Georgetown, south of Versailles, and just to the west of Frankfort area. All these are very intense. A lot of lightning here. We'll click the lightning data back in. All of these have a good bit of lightning with it. A lot of heavy rain, the potential for damaging winds, and at any time, anywhere here in the metro area, any of these could spin up a tornado. We've been getting information from numerous calls, emails coming in, and reports from law enforcement confirming some of these funnel clouds and these possible tornadoes. And the one, the circle you see in the bottom portion of your screen south of Versailles, that is for, that is a particular cell actually, with the possible tornado in Salvisa across the northern part of Mercer County. So you folks in the Georgetown area to around Frankfort, also south of Versailles, and once again across the western part of Fayette County, these are ones that will bear watching. And I'm going to broaden it out one more time here, and you see, and another one here, actually our little tornado vortex signature, the small little triangle that you see just west of Richmond. It just got my attention there, and it does look like this particular cell. There's no tornado warning out for this, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning out for this for Madison County.
Yeah, and it's developing the hook there.
Yeah, it does appear right here where you see the arrows come together back here on the southwest side where you see the tornado vortex signature, the TVS, the red triangle. This is the area just west and southwest of the city of Richmond where we may in fact begin to see some rotation, and it is something that really bears watching coming up here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. So that's something that we are watching and something we will continue to watch. But right now, just a severe thunderstorm warning for Madison County until 6:45. It appears, and I don't see it up on the I don't see it up on our continuous crawl. The tornado warning for Franklin County may have in fact been canceled, but as Chris is telling us, tornado warning now for Leslie County. So
6:45.
Let's take you a little bit farther to the south here. Just an incredible number of tornado warnings coming out. We've at least had probably 20, 25, 30 maybe. Easy. Since I think the first one that we had was around 2 o'clock, and that was down into Clay County, and they've been coming out at a pretty good pace. Here we are over Leslie County right now. This is our live first alert radar south of the city of Hyden. Tornado warning, and this goes until
6:45.
6:45. Here it is at 6:22. Doppler radar indicated a severe thunderstorm with a likely tornado near Chapel, 11 miles to the north of the city of Harlan, moving east at around 20 miles per hour. So it is southeast of Hyden. Let's take a look at the velocities because they were picking up nicely there. Yeah, you can see it there. Let me point this out to you. If you're watching on television, you can see it. If you're listening on radar, what we look for as far as the velocities go, this is wind direction, how the winds are moving in the storm relative to the radar. What we look for on this particular radar is anything in a light green next to anything in a yellow or red or orange. And what we're seeing here, if you're listening on radar on the southeast part of Leslie County, if you're listening on radio here, we have that signature which shows us rotation right across the southern part of Leslie County. So
and it's almost the exact same spot that we had the last tornado.
Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley, continuing to follow the severe weather threat across eastern Kentucky this evening. We're breaking into WKYT severe weather coverage because we want to focus specifically on just eastern Kentucky, and we do have a brand new tornado warning for Leslie County. For the very latest, here's Jim.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. There is a tornado warning now in effect for the folks over in Leslie County until 6:45. This is the second one for them today. Second tornado warning for Leslie County today. This is going to be near the Big Fork, Big Rock area. These areas sound very familiar because in the last storm path, this is where the tornado was likely to hit. They're going to be near Big Fork near 6:30, Big Rock around 6:35. This is 11 miles. The spot was notified. They found it 11 miles north of Harlan, moving east at 20 miles an hour. Now it's near the Chapel area, according to Doppler radar. And let's talk something about it. Let's look at it here. And this is the storm we're looking at right there, cruising through portions of southern Leslie County. As we said, it's about 11 miles north of Harlan. And this storm likely producing a tornado in that area. They indicated some rotation, some spin in the atmosphere. And as I've been saying all evening long, things have calmed down for a brief time period. And what happens is they get re-energized, and then we start to see this spin. It can happen in a moment without a moment's notice. It can just happen with a snap of the finger. So that's why the situation is still very, very deadly across East Kentucky. The potential for tornadoes all across East Kentucky does exist. So if you're in that area in southern portions of Leslie County, do take shelter. Get to your basement. Get possibly to the lowest floor of your home. If you live on a two-story house, get to the bottom floor. You want to put as many walls in between you and the outside world as you possibly can. That is the goal when we talk about getting to the lowest floor possible, being the lowest target possible, basically, and that also goes for being outside and lightning as well. This is a look at the Sky Alert radar all across East Kentucky, and what we're looking at there, you see the storm moving through portions of southern Leslie County, moving into portions of Perry County. A little nose of it there is at least. A large cluster of storms also in central portions of Kentucky at this hour as well. But the main weather headline, as I mentioned again, tornado warning in effect for portions of Leslie County, Big Rock, Big Creek areas, and it was indicated near the Chapel area, and that's 11 miles north of Harlan. It's moving east at about 20 miles an hour. So 20 miles an hour east, you're talking about southern portions of Perry County, trying to get into portions also of Letcher County within the next, probably next 10, 15 minutes or so. So if you're in that area, go ahead and take every precaution you can to be safe, because this is obviously a very dangerous situation. When we put the word tornado and warning together, that is the big thing we look for when we're talking about that type of severe weather. A tornado watch in effect for everyone until 10 p.m. tonight here in eastern Kentucky. And again, what's the difference? Tornado warning means it's been spotted or indicated on Doppler radar. You need to take shelter immediately when you hear those two words put together. And your tips, let's go over them. Always important. Get to a basement, underground shelter. I think I've seen these so many times today, I've almost got them memorized word for word what I've got written here on the screen. But these are more important than seeing that radar 50 times. As long as you know what to do, that's the most important thing. And you need to get to a sturdy piece of furniture. Get underneath it. Stay away from doors and windows. And mobile homes are not a safe place to be, gang. They should be abandoned. If you live in a mobile home, try to get to a safe place. If you've got a neighbor that you can get to their house very quickly, maybe a yard over, get to their house and go barge in on them. Go say, hey, it's a bad weather situation. Let's get safe. And I'm sure they'll let you in. And keep yourself safe out there. And that's just one of the big tornado issues here in East Kentucky that we do have. And tornado warning now in effect for Jackson County. This goes until 7:15 p.m. Jackson County, likely tornado indicated by Doppler radar about 10 miles north of London. It's moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. That cluster of storms is moving toward the north and east. It's a system that is moving in central portions of the state. It's going to be near around the folks over in Bond around 6:35. Settle Store around 6:40, Zeeks Point around 6:45, Malden around 6:50, and Nathanton around 6:55 p.m. That's what we're looking at over the next little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it over to Steve for a second. I'll be right back with a little bit more information on this. So let's jump over there to the news desk and let Steve get you up to date.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. We have a few more damage reports coming in from the National Weather Service. Some of these are a little old, but I still want to report them to you. Most of them are coming out of Perry County, too. 420 p.m. this afternoon out of the Vico area. We've been talking about Vico all afternoon. At 4:20, Highway 15 at Vico had at least 6 inches of water flowing over the roadway. Water was coming off the mountainside and flowing over the road. That was reported by state police over in Hazard. We don't know the situation on 15 right now. I assume it has improved a little bit, but the Vico area was just hammered this afternoon. Highway 1088 at Lots Creek underwater and closed. That was at 4:05. It was reported at 4:05 by law enforcement in Perry County. Highway 1088 at Lots Creek closed. Also, out of Putney in Harlan County, law enforcement reported almost 2-inch size hail, and we saw some pictures earlier Jim Caldwell showed you out of Harlan County of some large hail in that area. Back here in Perry County, we got an email that there's road slips on Couchtown Road in Busy around Everso Hollow. That's here in Perry County, road slips on Couchtown Road. Numerous reports of flash flooding and mud and mudslides this afternoon. Also, let's see here. That's about all we have right now. As we reported earlier, several areas in Letcher County also flooded this afternoon. So again, if you have to be out, be extremely careful, especially as we go into the evening hours where sometimes you can't see if water's over the roadway. Again, flash flooding, the #1 cause, the #1 weather-related death. But obviously the main concern at this point is tornado warnings, and we have 2 tornado warnings right now for Leslie and Jackson counties. This is the second tornado warning of the day for Leslie County. We've also had 2 tornado warnings today for Clay County. So a very busy night. Let's go back to Jim Caldwell for the latest. Jim.
All right, Steve, what we're looking at now is our Sky Alert radar locked in on Jackson County. There is our cell that's possibly producing a tornado there in southern portions of Jackson County. We'll just name a couple of cities there that it could be likely near, a couple of areas, Bond, Settle Store, Malden, Nathanton, and these are all areas that this storm is likely to be heading toward over the next half hour or so. So Nathanton, I guess that's around 6:55, so right around the next half hour. So if you're on the line of the storm, you want to take every precaution necessary to preserve life. You want to get to the basement. You want to get to the lowest point possible in your home. You want to, if you're in a possibility of if you're in a mobile home, you want to get out of it. You want to abandon it. That's not a safe place to be. They're easy to be thrown around like a rag doll. I mentioned that earlier, like a kid would play with his toy trucks and cars. That's as easy as it is for them to be thrown around. That's exactly what Mother Nature can do with those, throw them around that easily. But that's the storm we're looking at, possibly producing a tornado, some intense indications there, and possibility of some rotation there. The rotation was detected somewhere near the area of Eberl. And again, if I'm mispronouncing these, I do apologize. The most important thing is to get the information out to you, and we got the line of the storm, which is going to be heading over the next little bit, out to you. That is the #1 priority, and it's moving through southern portions of Jackson County. We mentioned Owsley County earlier. This storm obviously moving off toward the north and toward the east. So Owsley County, you're in the line of the storm in the next little bit. You could see possibly a good round of heavy rains and possibly a severe weather situation move into your area as well as we head into the next little bit. Now we're going to switch radar looks, at least for now. We're seeing, we're checking on that storm over in Leslie County. The tornado warning in effect for those folks for the next little bit, still in effect at this time, has not been allowed to expire or canceled. But if you're in the southern portions of Perry County, you are in portions of Harlan County there, the little tip there, and you are in portions of Letcher County. Over the next little bit, there is a doozy headed your way. It's a smaller storm than what we've been dealing with, so it's not going to be as widespread. But still, rotation was indicated by Doppler radar. The folks, the experts at the National Weather Service over in Jackson say that the likelihood of a tornado is very high inside of that thunderstorm there moving in portions of Leslie County. This is one view of East Kentucky, so we can show you what's going on in every portion, every corner. We don't leave any stone unturned. And that's what we're looking at here. You see the severe thunderstorm moving through southern portions of Jackson County, likely producing a tornado. Madison County now. I mentioned possibly we have some kids that may still live in the Richmond area, taking some summer classes at Eastern Kentucky University. They're dealing with quite the round of severe weather themselves, possibly tornado there. And you see more severe weather moving through portions of Clark County as well. So it's a very, very active day out there, Steve, and hopefully things are going to calm down a little bit, but it doesn't look like it because this is why. There's a tornado watch until 10 p.m. And again, this is always a precaution just to let the folks know that the atmosphere is primed and ready for this type of weather, and that lasts, like I said, until 10 p.m. If you're in the viewing area, you can see us. The likelihood of you seeing severe weather is high, so you stick with us here at WYMT, and we will keep you up to date all evening long on any severe weather happenings here in the mountains. Let's jump over to the news desk with Steve Hensley.
Jim, thank you very much. We have this just in from the Army Corps of Engineers. They're reporting Highway 257 in the confluence area of Leslie County. They say flooding is very likely there later tonight, if not already occurring in the confluence area of Leslie County. If you remember earlier in the week, they had flooding there as well, a region known for flooding. But again, that's Highway 257, the confluence area of Leslie County. Officials report flooding likely there later tonight. As with many areas across eastern Kentucky today, flash flooding has been reported in numerous counties. What we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to go to the CBS Evening News in progress, and we'll be back on as soon as the information warrants. But again, the most important information right now is we have 2 tornado warnings, Leslie and Jackson counties. Of course, you can always see the latest at the top of your screen from Sky Alert, and again, we'll be back on the air shortly. For now, Steve Hensley, back to the CBS Evening News. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Steve Hensley along with Jim Caldwell and Keith Hudson, continuing to keep you updated on the severe weather situation in eastern Kentucky. We've been here since about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it has not stopped since. We've had, we were trying to count earlier, probably upwards of 20 tornado warnings throughout the afternoon, and we have a new one just issued a few minutes ago. So let's first go to Jim Caldwell with the latest information. Jim?
All right, thank you, Steve. A tornado warning had been in effect for the folks over in Breathitt County until 10 o'clock. The Weather Service will allow that to be extended until 10:45 p.m. It also is now in effect for the folks over in Knott County. Knott County, you're a part of this tornado warning now. It's going to be near the areas of Elm Rock around 10:10, Soft Shell around 10:15, Hanshoe around 10:20, Betty around 10:25. So those are just some of the areas that are in the path of this likely tornado indicated by Doppler radar, moving through portions of Breathitt County, now into Knott County, and severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect all across East Kentucky tonight as well. Let's quickly mention some of those. Johnson and Floyd counties until 10:15 p.m. And the folks over in Estill County, hopefully yours will expire at this time, because that's the time it's supposed to expire. Magoffin County also under a warning until 10. I suspect that may be extended as well, due to the fact that more severe thunderstorms are on the way. But what should you do in this type of situation? We hear the words tornado warning. What do you need to do? You need to be in your basement, first of all. If you've got it, that's where you need to be at. If you don't have one, the first floor of your home. If you only have one floor, then you've got one choice. You stay right there and you go to the innermost room of the house. And what do I mean by that? You just want to be center of that house. You want to keep yourself as farthest away from the outside world as you possibly can. You want to be in the center of your home. You want to be under some kind of a sturdy piece of furniture as well. Get into a closet in that hallway as well. Get you some blankets, pillows, anything you can wrap your body up into as some protection to the shell of your body. Make that a shield for you to hold off some of the damage. There are numerous other warnings out there across much of East Kentucky, but again, the latest, the tornado warning in effect for Breathitt and Knott counties going until 10:45 p.m. tonight. This is a dangerous situation. When you hear the words tornado and warning in one sentence together, that means that one is occurring. Remember that. That means that one is occurring. So if you're in Breathitt or Knott counties at this time, or in the folks over in Magoffin County as well, this storm's headed your way too. Just go ahead and be prepared for a nasty storm to move into your area. We're going to jump over to Steve at the news desk at this time, but we'll be back with more weather updates as we head through the next little bit here. Steve?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Well, this is obviously a Memorial Day weekend that many of us will not soon forget. Let's take a look at some of the damage that's already occurred now. Here in Perry County, first of all, more than 50 homes in the Vicco community had to be evacuated earlier today because of flash flooding. WYMT's Keith Hudson was there earlier this afternoon, and he joins us now with more. Keith, what a day.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Steve. You know, residents were preparing for a relaxing Sunday. You know, it's Memorial Day weekend,
And instead, the high winds and the heavy rains had many of them scrambling, trying to make sure their homes were safe and also trying to protect their lives as well. A time of relaxation became a moment of desperation for many in Perry County Sunday afternoon. Straight-line winds ripped through several areas, uprooting trees and damaging homes.
We got in the center of the house, and I heard a big thump. After it was all over with, we come out, and all this mess is laying here.
Winds, heavy rains, and flash flooding blocked roads and literally ripped others into pieces.
There's a lot of flooding going on. These houses, it's got quite a bit of damage to them. Their basements are flooded. It's just pretty bad right now.
While there are no reports of injuries, many are stunned by the storm's fierce power and wonder what will happen next.
Yeah, everything we own is in that trailer right now. And we have nowhere to go, and you know, this is disastrous. It's a mess.
Definitely a Memorial Day weekend that many will soon not forget. Keith Hudson, 27 News First. Well, Steve, you know, many people that we spoke to today in Vico said, you know, they thought this was a tornado. However, the National Weather Service, you know, has not confirmed this at this time.
Yeah, they'll have to get out and actually visit the site themselves to confirm that it was a tornado. Obviously, we had several reports of funnel clouds earlier. The good news out of all this is nobody was injured, right?
That's right. I called Hazard Perry County 911. They said that at this time they hadn't received any reports of any injuries, which, of course, is the most important thing.
Exactly right. All right. Keith Hudson, thank you for that report tonight. And again, no injuries reported at this time throughout eastern Kentucky that we've heard of. So that is about the only good news we have of the night. Well, flash flooding is the #1 weather-related killer in the United States, and it is deadly sometimes at night. Here are some safety tips that could save your life. Always be aware of your surroundings. Flash flooding can obviously come in an instant. Never drive through a flooded roadway. It only takes 2 feet of water to float your car and sweep it downstream. Never cross a flooded stream on foot. Even just 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet. Also, wading or swimming in floodwaters can pose health risks due to bacteria in the water. And, of course, if you live in a flood-prone area, you should move to higher ground when water threatens. And finally, remember the motto, if you come upon high water, stop, turn around, and go the other way. That may just save your life. And again, flooding can be especially dangerous as we fall into the darkness hours, and there is still flash flooding going on in numerous areas across eastern Kentucky. One example we heard from State Police, probably about 45 minutes ago, out of Wolfe County, where there's some serious flooding taking place, we understand, in the Campton area. So you just, best advice, stay at home tonight and let us get through these next few rounds of storms, and hopefully tomorrow, Memorial Day, will be a better day. Well, Clay County was under a tornado warning twice today. Earlier, we spoke with Assistant Manchester Police Chief Todd Roberts about the damage there.
We've got quite a few slides over here. We've got a couple mobile homes here that have slides back in behind them that have actually knocked these mobile homes off their foundations. We're also seeing slips and slides in various different places that we've never seen before. There's also some damage to some of the blacktop where the massive amount of flash flooding has run across the roads and uprooted some of the blacktop.
Todd Roberts, Assistant Chief with the Manchester Police Department. The story is similar in Letcher County. Judge Executive Carol Smith says there is damage in several parts of that county.
We had some flash flooding real quick. We had water in people's yards and basements and up under their houses. We had culverts stopped up. We had roads washed out. We had some power lines down. That lasted, I guess, hour and a half, and then it quit raining, and then another line of storms came through. We've got crews out now. We've still got some roads that are blocked with flooding.
And the heavy rains blocked roads all across eastern Kentucky today. This was the scene in near downtown Hazard earlier today. High water literally buckled this section of East Main Street. I was called out in the storm, and I can tell you firsthand it was like a hurricane. Everybody was at a standstill on the roadways. Plus, you had hail coming down. It was just unbelievable. You couldn't see anything because of all the heavy rain, hail, and wind. As expected, numerous mudslides are reported all across the region as well. One just reported in Christopher in Perry County not too long ago. And again, the best advice is to stay off the roads tonight. If you don't have to be out, stay at home. Road crews are working around the clock to clear up the slides. Many had to be called in because it's Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of overtime to come, I can imagine. Now, this mudslide was in the Willard section of Perry County, and of course, with more rain on the way, we're still not done yet. Those crews may be fighting a losing battle tonight, and I imagine many crews will be working on into Memorial Day. Let's check in once again with Jim Caldwell for the latest. Jim.
And, of course, us being one of those crews working well into the morning hours if need be, and tornado warning still in effect for the folks in Breathitt counties and now in Knott counties. This is one of the best views I can get for you to actually cover both counties. And this is in effect until 10:45, and some more news out of the Weather Service. They have extended the watch. The tornado watch for all of East Kentucky now lasting through 4 o'clock in the morning. So it could very well be a long night with the conditions favorable of seeing severe weather and tornadic activity during the overnight hours tonight. We're going to give you another perspective on the storm as it heads out of portions of Breathitt and Knott counties. You can see the very intense storm portion there in the darker colors there, maroon, and it's heading on off toward the east. So the folks over in, let's see, portions of Floyd County and portions of Magoffin County, as this storm heads on off to the east, you could very well see another storm try to get fired up on you all again. I know warnings have expired for the folks over in Magoffin County, but do anticipate maybe some more severe weather possibly moving into that area over the next little bit. And for the folks over in portions of Floyd County, you've got a warning lasting until roughly 10:30 tonight. So a lot of severe weather being reported out there. But the main thing right now, tornado warning in effect for Breathitt and Knott counties. What does that mean? That means you need to take shelter immediately. You need to get to the lowest floor of your home. You need to get to your basement. And the basement is the ideal place to be at, gang. That is where you really need to be at to put yourself out of the direct blow of some of these winds. But the tornado warning is lasting until 10:45. Hopefully it will weaken. Hopefully it will be canceled before then. But at this time, it's still in effect. And we're going to review this. We're going to go out we're going to go out and check out some more weather here. Just going to show you that backside of Breathitt County. It's clearing out in that portion, but there are more storms brewing in Powell and Estill counties. So Wolfe County, Lee County. Here we go again. Some more heavy rain, and another good thunderstorm could be rolling into your area as well. These are the big tips. The most important thing for you to remember, as I've been saying it all day long. More important than me showing you a radar all day long. As long as you know these things right here, and we say there's a tornado warning, you do these things. And we're going to try our best to keep you safe here at WYMT. Get to a basement or another underground shelter. No basement. Get to the lowest floor of your home. And you need to get into an interior room or hallway in that area. Get under a sturdy piece of furniture. Stay away from doors and windows. And mobile homes should be abandoned. They can be thrown around like, I often refer to it as the way the kids play with the toys. These are the active warnings we have out there right now. Just the only one that doesn't have is the one for Knott County. I was in a rush to try to get this all this information out here for you. Johnson and Floyd counties, and also this one expired just about the minute I walked out here, and a couple more out in effect for Powell counties. And for the folks over in Estill County, that's Wolfe County, several warnings out there in effect, and flash flood warnings also in effect for every county you see there. Here in East Kentucky, at least lasting until the next couple of hours. But we're going to jump back over to the news desk with our Steve Hensley for a little bit more. Steve?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. I want to go over a couple of things we've already mentioned in our coverage tonight, but worth repeating. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers of Buckhorn Lake reported earlier that the lake level was rising, and roads in the confluence and dry hill areas of Leslie County are expected to be flooded tonight. Now, there is ferry service for individuals in the flooded area. That's available by calling the Leslie County Emergency Operations Center. You see the number there, area code 606-672-3407. Also here in Perry County, there will be a planned power outage for parts of the county tonight. American Electric Power officials say they will be repairing damage at the Combs substation, which apparently was hit by lightning earlier today. The outage is scheduled for 10:30, about 15 minutes from now. Will last for approximately 2 hours. So if the power goes off again in the Lotts Creek, Airport Gardens, and Combs areas, you'll know why. It's a planned outage to make some repairs because the substation over in Combs was damaged by the storm earlier today. again, a planned power outage at 10:30 for the Combs, Lots Creek, and Airport Gardens areas of Perry County. Well, it's been a crazy night here, to say the least, and it appears we still have quite a ways to go. A new tornado watch has been issued until 4 a.m. for parts of eastern Kentucky. And again, the latest tornado warning we have right now is for Knott and Breathitt counties until 10:45. We're going to be here all night if needed, and Jim Caldwell will be back momentarily to keep you updated on the latest warnings and watches across eastern Kentucky. We will be simulcasting WKYT's newscast at 11 o'clock tonight. There's been damage across Kentucky this afternoon. They're going to have a wrap-up of that, not only the damage in eastern Kentucky, but across the state. But we will cut in any time that's necessary to bring you the latest news from here in eastern Kentucky. For now, for Jim Caldwell, Keith Hudson, I'm Steve Hensley. We're going to go back to regular programming.
Good evening, everyone. Jim Caldwell on the WYMT Sky Alert Weather Center, and getting you up to date on the severe weather situation occurring here in East Kentucky again tonight. Right now, we're focusing on Breathitt counties and Knott counties due to the fact there is a tornado warning in effect for those folks there. And as you can see, it's beginning to work its way into southern portions of Magoffin County, at least the portion of that storm that has been considered to be severe. Or at least tornadic. It's beginning to work its way on into portions of Magoffin County. A new warning now posted for Floyd County. We'll get that expiration time to you here in a second, but right now we'll focus our attention on the folks in northern portions of Knott County and portions of Breathitt County there and the eastern portions of that county. And here's what we've got on the severe thunderstorm warning for Floyd County as well. We'll talk about it. 1 second. Give me a second here first. But we're seeing the very intense portion of the storm trying to work its way into now portions of Magoffin County, right along the line. So folks in southern portions of Magoffin County, that includes the folks near the Swampton area, near the area called Tip Top, Oakley. You folks over there getting ready for a doozy to move through your area. This one was already possibly producing a tornado a little bit earlier, so a strong storm, to say the very least, will be moving into your direction here and within the next couple of minutes. And now let's talk about this storm here now for Floyd County. It's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 11 p.m. It's going to be near Printer, near right around 1025. And it's about 10:20 right now, so about 10:25, Honecker, around 10:30, and Aluba, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Again, the important thing is we're telling you the general area where they are, not pronunciation. 10:35 is where your warning is where the folks are in the path of this storm at. And you can see it there now moving through that portion of the county. Martin County, you're starting to see some action too. Wouldn't surprise me to see a warning come out of that storm here within the next little bit as well. You're finally getting in on some of the heavier doses of rain. And again, all across East Kentucky now seeing some type of severe weather. First it started out in near Breathitt, Clay, Leslie counties. Now it's working its way on off toward the east and the northeast into the Big Sandy region here in East Kentucky. And a couple of storm reports now coming out of Campton where they had possible tornado go through that area. Trees are down around Highway 746. That was reported by dispatch in near Campton, 1 mile north of Campton in Wolfe County. Trees down near Trentville Road off of Route 11. That's another storm report coming out of that area. So obviously a very dangerous situation all across East Kentucky tonight. As we talk about severe thunderstorm warnings popping up, we're talking about one that was allowed to expire a few minutes ago. That was over in Johnson County, and I know those folks are happy to see that. I called Gregory Burchett, that's our Scott Burchett's father. I asked him a little earlier if he'd seen anything out of the way at that point. He lives real close to the Magoffin County line, and at that point he hadn't seen anything, but there's more storms on the way, Greg, so we may be calling you back here in the next little bit. But you see storms moving through Floyd County. That's a severe thunderstorm, likely producing a tornado in Breathitt County and portions of Knott County, northern portions of Knott County. When we say tornado warning, it means it's occurring, it's imminent. There's a rotation in the atmosphere, or it was spotted by a weather spotter who was trained to recognize what a tornado is. And sometimes that can be a little confusing. A lot of people think they have seen them, and sometimes they have not. You have to be trained in order for the Weather Service to go ahead and put it on the air, or has some type of training in the meteorological field in most cases. But they can sure put out a warning for you if you start talking about those strong gusty winds and the possibility of some damage. Okay, let's go ahead and switch our source here, and we're going to show you what we've got as far as tornado tips in that area. And if by chance there's a tornado lurking in your community, do these things that you see in front of you. We put them out here over and over again. Hopefully you will try to do them, okay? Because that's the thing we've tried to promote all day long. We want to try to preserve life here, and by doing these tips, you can try and help us out and try to do that by going through with some of these. Okay, let's take another look at the severe thunderstorm possibly producing a tornado in northern portions of Knott County. This is just a better view of Knott County. Now we can actually look at it a little better. You can see where the storm is at, where that maroon is at, that maroon color. That's the strongest portion of the storm. And it's like I've been mentioning on the other view of the radar. It's likely moving into portions of Magoffin County at this time, moving off toward the east here the next little bit, producing heavy rain, gusty winds, and the possibility of hail over the size of quarters. That's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll check the other side of the radar where more storms are beginning to pop up in portions of Powell County. Wolf County, you're getting ready to see some more move through your area, especially right along the Powell County line. Lee County, also seeing some heavier rain move through that area. Numerous flash flood warnings are also out there, and I think we've got a map for many of them out there. I know Magoffin and Floyd Johnson counties all have flash flood warnings. And again, this tornado warning in effect for the folks over in Breathitt County, and a tornado warning in effect for the folks over in Knott County. And you can see flash flood warnings and advisories and things all the way back into the Lexington area. Now we view all of East Kentucky. This is the Sky Alert radar, and this is what you have come to know. You're watching the storms march off toward the east. Pike County, thunderstorm should be in your direction here within the next little bit as well. So just go ahead, be prepared for that. You're going to have a doozy. Try to go through that area as well, or at least one that has been producing some pretty significant weather out there, a lot of lightning and some heavy rain. So if you're out in Pike County, it's a large county, I know, but if you're in Pike County, go ahead and be aware of the ever-changing weather situation that we have here in eastern Kentucky tonight. And it's definitely on its way. And we're taking another look here at some of the warnings there you see across much of East Kentucky tonight. This is the statewide radar. There's a reason I want to show you this. That's the reason I want to show you this. There's a line of storms beginning to work their way back into western Kentucky. And as they work their way into western Kentucky, we do anticipate them possibly coming into portions of Kentucky, or eastern Kentucky. And I got in a hurry with my voice there. There's a tornado warning in effect now for Floyd County until 11 p.m. This is apparently in southern portions of Floyd County. Minnie, McDowell, Grethel, Osborne, all in line of this storm. Doppler radar detected a severe thunderstorm, the likely tornado 2 miles southwest of Bosco. It's 12 miles northeast of Heinemann. It's moving east at 35 miles an hour. If you're in these areas, take shelter because this is a dangerous situation. Go to the lowest area of your home, an interior hallway or room. Use blankets, pillows to keep yourself safe from some of the destruction that could be possibly blowing in your house, some of the debris and things. And let's see, it goes, like I said, to 11 p.m. Tonight. And it was just a warning. They upgraded it just then to a tornado warning. And flash flooding, ongoing flooding at John C.C. Mayo Avenue. 1 foot of water estimated flowing over the road in the town of Oxshire. 2 feet of water flowing over Route 1750 at Abbott Creek near Prestonsburg. And that was reported by law enforcement in Prestonsburg. Over in Wolf County, numerous roads were impassable countywide. They have been hit hard with rain today, gang. A lot of rain falling in the same areas over and over again. Route 1010 in Hazel Green, Route 191, water across Stamford Branch. And the earliest report came at 8:09 and still coming on at 10:06, reported by dispatch. And I know here in just a few minutes we're going to be cutting to the folks at WKYT 27 News First for their news coverage. And they, of course, they'll be addressing these situations as well. And over in Proctor and Lee County, porch blown off of a home in the Proctor area, Royalton flash flooding, Kentucky Route 7 and 1635 impassable to high water, 2 feet of water flowing over the road. And 1750 at Abbott Creek near Prestonsburg. Numerous roads impassable countywide. This includes 191. Of course, that's over there in flash flooding potential in Wolf County, Martin County. Your flash flood warning until 8:15 or until 5:15 in the morning. And they're talking about 2.5 inches 2.5 inches of rainfall falling in that county at this time. We're talking about the Big Sandy region. 2 tornado warnings now in effect, Pike and Magoffin counties. And we're getting ready to cut to 27 News First within the next minute or so. Are they up? Are they ready? They are getting ready, and we're going to continue to talk about this severe weather in Pike County and Magoffin. Again, if you're in either one of these counties, you need to seek shelter immediately, at least for the next little bit. 2 tornado warnings now in effect, and again, we're going to have complete storm coverage all night long. But when we go to the news for 27 News First, they're going to get us up to date on some other things and some video from all across the state. We've been showing you flooding video here in East Kentucky as well all night long. And again, there's still a wide possibility because there's a flood watch until 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and numerous flash flood warnings that last into the wee hours of the morning. Tornado watch for everybody. Pike County, you're now officially included in the tornado watch, as you should have been in the first place, but sometimes that's just the way the lines get drawn. Not to say that you weren't in the path to see some severe weather. As I mentioned earlier, you were in the path, and you are seeing it. And tornado, possibly tornadic system there moving through the area. And again, your Belfry, Afflex. And we're going to go ahead and cut this out. We're going to go to 27 News First for complete coverage right now. Stay with us.
Storms rip through the state, leaving flood. Storms. 27 News First at 11 begins now.
Selected the region's best newscast by a national panel of judges. You're watching 27 News First at 11 on WKYT.
It came quickly from the west, pouring into the east with high winds and heavy rain.
Tonight, much of central and eastern Kentucky is flooded by another day of Mother Nature's fury. And good evening. Sam Dick and Barbara Bailey reporting tonight a stormy, frightening Sunday across much of central Kentucky.
Another round of severe weather rolled into the region earlier this afternoon, and more is on the way. Chief Meteorologist T.G. Shucks in first with an update on the latest weather conditions.
Sam and Barbara, we have 2 active tornado warnings across eastern Kentucky as we speak. One for Magoffin County until midnight, the other for Pike County, and that comes up expiring at 11:45. Right to our live first alert radar, a lot of ground to cover here. This has really been a multifaceted system. In addition to the possible tornadoes that we've seen on numerous occasions here, the threat for damaging winds, large hail, and the flooding threat is really becoming a problem. And one of the areas is there in Syersville and across much of central and eastern Kentucky with just an incredible amount of rain. But the tornado warning continues for Magoffin County until midnight. The most intense part of the cell is across the eastern part of Magoffin County here, just along 114 prior to going into Floyd County. So if you live in Magoffin County and it heads up in southern Johnson and northern Floyd around the Prestonsburg area, this cell is moving your way into extreme eastern Kentucky. Pikeville, you're all clear now. But eastern Pike County along US 119 that runs up to Williamson, West Virginia, also the Phelps area out in the county, this particular thunderstorm has had a history of indicating some rotation, and the tornado warning continues there until 11:45. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Breathitt County area. That is set to expire here in about 15 minutes. You can see it moving through Jackson right now. And another area of concern, something that we are watching here, notice what's happening down along the Kentucky-Virginia border here. These storms beginning to fire, and this really trails back up to around the Beattyville area. These storms, in addition to what we have on the way, we're actually going to broaden things out here a little bit and show you what is on the way, what we're about to be hit with from the other side. We've got thunderstorms that are developing. This is one thing we were concerned about just ahead of this intense line of storms, which literally is racing to the east upwards of probably 50 to 55 miles per hour, and that in itself will do a little bit of wind damage. One thing I do want to point out with that particular line, notice the jagged nature of the line. It's kind of bowing out in different segments as we follow the line just out ahead of it. Notice how it kind of snakes its way through. This is a similar situation to what we had here in Lexington the other night. Straight line wind damage possible, but a few isolated tornadoes may in fact spin up with this. Actually, Metro Louisville itself in Jefferson County under a tornado warning right now. So we may in fact have another round to go, and I'm a little concerned about this little cluster of storms that has developed over the Shelbyville area, over Lawrenceburg, Springfield, Harrodsburg. Those may try to join the main line, and that could definitely increase the threat for a few isolated tornadoes here in central Kentucky and, of course, eastern Kentucky a little bit later on into the early part of Memorial Day. If those join forces, that has a tendency to increase that threat. Do want to show you the tornado watch, which goes until 4 a.m. It does include all of central and eastern Kentucky. Actually, these warnings continue to fire as we progress along here, getting a little bit closer to the KYT viewing area. Oldham and Trimble counties just to the northeast of Louisville now under tornado warnings until 12:15. So it is progressing eastward quite rapidly. You can see the problem in eastern Kentucky, the same areas. If you look just to the north of Jackson there, up towards Salyersville, Prestonsburg, and working back to the west, those areas have seen a tremendous amount of rain over the last 3 to 6 hours, upwards of 4, 5, even 6 inches. And there have been ongoing rescues in Magoffin County, and a lot of people trapped by high water in their cars trying to drive through high water and that type of thing. And it really is a very dangerous and can be a deadly situation. And you see the nasty line of storms moving through. That's in addition to the wind threat. We're also going to see another round of some very heavy rain. So here in the Lexington area, we've seen street flooding throughout the afternoon and evening, and I think we're going to have to see a little bit more. Because look at the leading edge there that's coming into Louisville. Look what's behind it. Look at all that moderate rain that's just hanging and rotating eastward behind the main line. So we may run into a situation where we could see another hour or two of just a tremendous amount of rain. So a couple of things I want to point out here heading into the wee hours of Memorial Day, especially at night. The flash flood safety tips, we need to go over these again. Be aware of your surroundings. Never, never, never drive through a flooded roadway, especially at night. Doesn't matter whether you're in a small vehicle, a truck, a large vehicle. A couple of inches of water can cause the problems. Flooded stream on foot, don't want to do that, and you know what to do. I think at this point with folks with tornado warnings, we've seen, excuse me, just a tremendous number, I think, upwards of 25 to 30 different tornado warnings for multiple counties through the course of the afternoon. And it may not be over yet, so it's one of those things as folks head to bed, you definitely want to keep it tuned, keep your TV on, and we'll be here throughout the night to continue to update you. But just as I said, a multifaceted system. There's so many aspects to talk about. It's really just incredible.
I can't remember the last time we had a week like this one, TG.
It really has been remarkable. Chris and I were talking about just what had happened up until this point, and actually, as far as widespread, not only here in central and eastern Kentucky, the good news is we've had very little in the way of reports of damage and that type thing. If you think back to 1974, April 3rd and 4th, we had just very, very strong tornadoes, a lot of damage, a lot of deaths. Nothing to the scope of that, but just as far as widespread sheer numbers of tornadoes, not only, at least the possibility, not only here in central and eastern Kentucky, but also through Indiana, back into Illinois, western Kentucky. It really is probably one of the bigger outbreaks across the Central Plains into the Ohio Valley in quite some time. Not making the actual comparison, but the setup was kind of eerily similar, taking a look at it yesterday.
Well, it's been quite a scene through the night, as you can well imagine. On